Tonight's big stories, the Education Department has launched a revised K-10 curriculum in response to the learning crisis in the country.
The Interior Department wants a review of the standard operating procedures in police operations after the shooting of a 17-year-old boy by mistake.
And later on, we will be joined by voice actor Inca Magnaye, who has made history by becoming the first Philippine-based talent to ever voice a character in a DC film.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Sean Yao.
Days have passed since the big story for the week, the water cannon incident in Ayungin Shoal. Now we're getting first-hand accounts of what happened from several crew members of the Philippine Coast Guard and the Navy. It was, of course, a David versus Goliath battle
As it
at
always
sea.
is.
Pero sinasabi rin na parang meron daw talagang attempts to
ram them.
Oh, really?
And dangerous maneuvers from the Chinese Coast Guard. And looks like they targeted certain parts of our boats. So very strategic. We also now get to see what it looked like from the perspective of those on board. We're seeing footage taken from the inside of Inca Magnaye 2, and you can see the Chinese Coast Guard vessel coming up from behind. In just a few moments, it was able to catch up to the Philippine vessel with its water cannon. We also got to hear the side of the crew members. Let's listen in.
Kasi meron silang mga radio challenges na ini-issue sa atin. And yun nga, kiniklaim nila na yung ginagawa natin, ng presence natin doon is illegal and is a threat to Chinese sovereignty. Karon sila ng last challenge na sabi nila na stop moving forward. And then after that, a few minutes, nag-activate na yung water cannon.
Lahat ng attempts ng blocking and dangerous maneuvers na ginawa na nila. And then nung medyo nakalapit-lapit na kami sa Ayungin, within 2 nautical miles na lang, doon na nag-start yung attempt ng parang iraram na nila kami. Kasi ang lapit na nila eh. Gusto na talaga kaming i-steer away sa Ayungin.
Well, those are pretty serious charges, and that's maybe why when we had Colonel Medel Aguilar, the spokesperson, here in the studio a few days ago, he said it was a premeditated attempt.
There was
right?
shadowing,
Oo.
medyo lumapit.
And we were asking him, what makes you say that?
That
right?
it was premeditated.
planned, this
And you
harassment
could see
was
from that
planned.
video how strong the water cannons were. Right?
Again, water pressure, it's actually really, really strong. When you get hit by a wall of
Yeah.
water, it's like hitting cement. So
Yeah.
malakas talaga siya.
Well, we got some updates on the crew, but what about the boats? Let's hear it from News 5's Brian Castillo. Brian, how bad was the damage?
Reg, we're here in Palawan and we got to board the Inca Magnaye 2 earlier today. That was a supply vessel that had been water cannoned by the Chinese Coast Guard. We talked to the crew and found out that the Chinese Coast Guard tried to target first the bridge, which is where the vessel is being controlled. The water cannons also tried to go for the smokestack, which acts as the vessel's mufflers. If the smokestack gets filled with water, it would damage the ship's engine and render the crew unable to move anywhere. So you can just imagine how dangerous the situation was for the resupply team. Also, take note, some of the food provisions that are being brought to Ayungin got drenched by the water cannons. But some good news, though, the AFP said that the supply vessels did not incur significant damage and can still be used in future resupply missions. Reg?
Thanks so much for that update, Brian Castillo.
Thankfully, nothing happened to the boats and the fishermen. And of course, they said that they will continue this resupply mission. Meanwhile, still in defense, or on defense, several government agencies have kicked off a joint maritime exercise called Alalayan at the Manila Bay today. The Alalayan exercise is an interagency maritime training that seeks to test how agencies respond to particular maritime incidents. Agencies included in the training are the Bureaus of Immigration, Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, Customs, Quarantine, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the PDEA, as well as the National Coast Watch Center. During the exercise, the participants simulated a response involving a vessel that was transporting smuggled goods. The agencies also tested a secure communications platform called the IORIS, or Indian Ocean Regional Information Sharing, which was donated by the European Union to enhance planning and coordination for maritime needs. At one point, participants also used water cannons to simulate a fire extinguishing mission. The EU said it will conduct another alalayan exercise in November that will take place in the West Philippine Sea.
This is just an exercise to test our interoperability among the different support agencies of the National Coast Watch Center, and also because the EU actually provided us with a secured common information sharing platform through their project that is IRIS. Sometimes we get information that is not of our concern. That is why we are trying to address the gaps and interlaps here.
Now, this alalayan exercise took place just about a week after that water cannoning incident. Does this training have anything to do with that? Let's hear it from Mon Gualvez. Mon, what do you have?
Sean, the Philippine Coast Guard clarifies that the alalayan exercises is not a show of force in response to that water cannon incident in the Ayungin Shoal. As you reported, the agencies also used water cannons during the exercises, but the PCG noted that these assets are only used during disasters and other calamities. Meanwhile, the European Union has promised that it will continue conducting such exercises with the Philippines in the next months. The EU also noted that it will support the country in line or in the issue in the disputed West Philippine Sea as long as it is aligned with the international order. Sean?
Thanks for that, Mon Gualvez.
Speaking of alalayan, we did get some good news today about the Japan grant for maritime communications for us. The Philippine government has also been working on maritime cooperation with Vietnam, with the U.S.
Yeah.
But I also heard over the news that China conducted this week maritime drills with Russia and South Korea. So they were saying that there's curious optics there. Why is South Korea part of it? But I think they do that annually.
They do that regularly,
Annually.
I mean, all
does-
over
yeah.
their territories.
Yeah, but it does feel like there are more joint maritime exercises being conducted in the
Broadly
last
speaking.
several years. So who knows where all this is going to lead.
True.
Well, better safe than sorry, I suppose.
Moving on now to education. DepEd has officially launched its revised K-10 curriculum. Under this new curriculum dubbed Matatag, the 7 subjects previously taught in grades 1 and 2 will be cut down to 5. These subjects are language, reading and literacy, mathematics, makabansa, and GMRC, or good manners and right conduct. There will no longer be a separate mother tongue subject, but it will still be used as a mode of instruction depending on the area of study. DepEd also said that it will add subjects gradually as students move up levels.
For one, the language subject in grade 1 will now be replaced with Filipino. Grade 3 students will also have 6 subjects with the addition of science. 4th graders will have to take 8 subjects: Filipino, English, mathematics, science, araling panlipunan, technology and livelihood education, MAPE, and GMRC. For those in kinder, their curriculum will be play-based, which means no particular subjects will be taught. DepEd says it is hoping to strengthen the quality of education in the country with the launch of this revised curriculum. But even before it's implemented, the curriculum is already facing some criticism.
Tingin natin hindi ito magiging holistic na education para sa ating mga kabataan, at sana dinaan muna sa consultation ng DepEd itong paggagawa ng curriculum.
This revised curriculum will, and I will quote the Vice President here, will reintroduce the basic foundation of education to our learners, the literacy and numeracy competencies, and ensure that they develop 21st century skills. That is according to the Vice President, but
Right,
as
she
we
has-
just heard from ACT Rep Castro, they don't believe that it will. So parang
That's right. She was also, of course, ACT Representative Franz Castro was saying hindi daw nag-consultations. We all know that this review has been going on, though, for a few months, although they didn't really, they weren't very extensive with disclosing the results of the review. But Vice President Sara Duterte has said, and I think different tests have showed na kulang talaga tayo no pagdating sa basic reading comprehension
Yeah, all
and
these,
mathematics.
all these international studies that found
From
that
UNICEF,
Filipino
3 in
students
20. 3 in 20.
Yes.
Less than 15% of school children in the Philippines can read simple text.
That's it.
Oo.
Which are dismal numbers.
Oo.
Very
Right?
dismal. Which leads me to think, no, bakit pa tayo nag-ambisyon maging K-12?
No, pero sinabi rin nila, may feedback kasi doon sa K-12 that there's a need to decompress it, lessen the
and
number of
it's too
subjects.
hard. Yes.
So, the way I see this one, na parang they were focusing on reading and comprehension in grades 1 and 2
Yeah.
by removing science to
Muna.
grade 3.
Yeah.
Yun nga lang, I would love to get the feedback of teachers if how early is that or how late is that?
Parang grade 3 po may
As-
science, medyo
well,
matagal, no? If you compare it to
Yeah.
our time.
But we do have a lot of
I
catching up to
agree.
do with the
Yeah.
pandemic, the learning poverty in the pandemic.
Oh, that's
That's a
another
very good
thing,
point.
right? It set us back years,
Years.
according to the ADB, right?
Yung scary part pa doon, apparently, during the pandemic, hindi sila nang babagsak ng mga students.
Oh, yes.
So-
Even in college, right?
Yes.
Right? So that's a bit.
I suppose only time will tell no,
We
how
do have
this
to-
revision
We do have
will-
to adjust one thing's for sure with the curriculum kasi sinasabi nga there's been feedback that it's not working.
Yes.
The graduates are not being hired.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a need to look into that. So we'll probably know in the next year what happens to the rollout of that. But the question now is, how does a DepEd plan to roll out this new K-10 curriculum? Let's find out from Marian Enriquez. Maan, go ahead.
Gretchen, for its part, DepEd said a new program underwent public review and got a 96% approval. DepEd plans to introduce the new curriculum gradually. Initially, it will be implemented for kindergarten as well as grades 1, 4, and 7, starting from the 2024 to 2025 academic year. Subsequently, grades 2, 5, and 8 will adopt the new curriculum in 2025. In 2026, it will be extended to grades 3, 6, and 9, with grade 10 following suit by 2027. By 2028, DepEd envisions the complete rollout of the new curriculum. Select schools, however, will already be part of the pilot implementation to polish the curriculum and its teaching even further. The agency is also reviewing the senior high curriculum and will unveil the revisions sometime next year. Gretch.
Now, we'll probably know the results in 5 years. Thank you very much, Marian Enriquez.
We're going to pause for a quick one right now. Sorry, I didn't realize that was my read. But again, up next, we'll be speaking with PNP spokesperson Jean Fajardo to discuss the DILG-ordered review of police protocols following the killing of a 12-year-old boy in Navotas. Stay with us. Sorry, 17-year-old boy. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the big story here in One News.
It's an emotional homecoming for Rodaliza Baltazar, the mother of 17-year-old Gemboy, who was killed by police over mistaken identity. Rodaliza came home from Qatar earlier today to find her youngest in a coffin. She has been in Qatar since 2021, working odd jobs and taking up illegal residence after running away from her employer last year. But with the help of Philippine officials, Rodaliza was able to get exit clearance to return home and grieve her son's loss. The Department of Migrant Workers has extended financial assistance and will continue to assist the family with their other needs.
May nag-aaral pang anak, so si Admin Arnel naman ay nakahandang tumulong din sa kanila. At kami na rin sa DMW, pinag-utos din ni Secretary Toots Ople na tutulong tayo sa kinabukasan ng kanilang anak. And then siya mismo ay dahil nauwi na siya, kinakailangan din ng trabaho, so tutulungan din namin siya.
The shooting incident has since prompted concerns over the need to review the standard operating procedure in police operations. Former police chief and now Senator Bato de la Rosa says that they are studying whether to call for a hearing on the matter.
That's basic. Ang maganda kapag rescue mo yung bata na tumalon sa tubig kung hindi mo na makita. Bakit mo papatukan yung tubig? Granting na suspect yan sa isang krimen na gustong lumayas. Ang first consideration naman natin is to arrest the suspect, not to kill the suspect.
The Commission on Human Rights is also lodging its own investigation to determine whether state agents should be held liable. The CHR urged the National Police to remind its personnel on the appropriate use of force. The Commission added that lethal methods should only be used as a last resort to prevent unlawful aggression.
Here to shed more light on this case, we have on the line PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo. Colonel, thanks for joining us tonight. Colonel, naglilinis lang daw ng bangka itong si Gemboy at ang kanyang kaibigan. Itinuro daw ng suspect na, or nung asset na sila nga daw yung suspect at pinaputukan agad. Can you tell us ano ba yung nagyari at ano ba yung naging lapses as per your SOP dito sa kasong to?
Unang-una ma'am ay magandang gabi po sa ating lahat, sa inyo po dyan sa studio at sa ating pong mga nanonood. Unang-una ay nalulungkot po tayo. We are very saddened dito po sa nangyari nga po na ito na this could have been prevented had our police officers who participated in that operation exercise due diligence at nag-maximum tolerance at hindi sana umabot sa ganito na bagamat ang kanilang objective ay hulihin yung mga suspect doon sa mga naunang pamamaril na nagresulta sa pagkamatay ng isang tao. Subalit yung kanilang intention ay nabaliwala lahat ito because of nangyaring insidente na napatay nga po itong isang minor na edad.
Colonel, di ba ito po ay kaso ng mistaken identity? Maaari niyo po ba kami bigyan ng background dun sa hinahabol nila na suspect? High profile po ba siya? Ano po ba yung kaso nun?
Ang mga magandang mga madaling araw po ng Agosto po ay nagkaroon po ng pamamaril kung saan ang isang 32-year-old po na male victim ay binaril po ng dalawang lalaki at na-witness po ito ng kanyang mismong kinakasama at naituro po kung sino po yung namaril sa kanyang kinakasama. It immediately, upon receipt of this information, ay nagsagawa po ng hot pursuit operation po ang Navotas Police Station which led to the arrest of the suspect in the shooting incident. At during the custodial investigation ay sinabi nga po nitong naunang nahuling suspect na yung isa pa nilang kasama ay maaaring makikita at nagtatago doon sa may riverside. And based doon sa kanilang elicitation at doon sa mga witnesses pa, ay nagtungo itong mga pulis natin doon sa riverside at according to their version, nung sila ay nandoon na, ay nakita nila itong biktima natin at isa pang lalaki na nandun sa may bangka at immediately ay nagpakilala silang police and commanded them to alight from the boat at sumuko. But according to them ay tumalon sa bangka itong ating biktima at lumangoy papalayo which prompted them to fire a warning shot for the suspect na unidentified during that time na tumigil sa paglayo which accidentally, according to them, ay tinamaan doon sa pagpapaputok nila ng warning shot po.
Sabi po ni Secretary Remulla, hindi raw po na-enforce yung body cam requirement. Is this mandatory in cases like these, hot pursuits? O kailan lang po ba siya ginagamit?
Tama po yun, ma'am. Isa po yun sa mga lapses na nakikita po natin na tinitignan na itong mga pulis natin na nag-conduct po ng operation ay wala pong mga suot po ng mga body-worn camera at any alternative recording devices that could have at least aided us during the investigation of this case. So marami pa po tayo na nakikita na lapses dito. For one is yung pagpapaputok nga po ng warning shot, which is obviously a clear violation nga po ng existing PNP operational procedure natin na hindi po nila ginawa. Plus ito nga hindi nila paggamit ng body-worn cameras. But then again, I don't want to preempt the ongoing investigation, but what we can assure you is sa mga ginagawa pong investigation po ngayon ay dinidetermine pa po natin yung mga possible lapses ng mga concerned personnel na nag-operate po dito po sa kaso na ito.
Colonel Jean, linawin lang natin, no? Nabanggit mo kanina, nung sinasagot mo yung tanong ni Gretchen na warning shot ang tumama kay Jemboy. Pero may mga accounts kasi na pinaulanan daw ng bala, meaning that's more than one. Can you tell us how many gunshot wounds the victim sustained?
Yun po, ma'am, yung ngayon ang subject ng operation dahil yan po yung claim ng ating mga pulis na in their attempt to request and prevent the fleeing suspect na makatakas ay nagpaputok sila accordingly dun sa tubig. At iba naman po yan sa version ng ibang mga witness. Kaya nga po yung mga baril po nitong 6 na pulis ay isinubitan na po natin sa crime forensic group para nga po malaman kung alin po sa mga baril po na ito ang tumama sa ating biktima. Dahil lumalabas po sa initial examination po ay may 3 tama po yung ating biktima. Subalit hindi pa po natin ma-determine ngayon kung ito bang 3 tama na ito ay sa isang baril lang galing o yung entry and exit wounds po ba ay isang bala lang ang tumama. So antayin pa rin po natin yung official result po ng autopsy po ng biktima.
Linawin na natin, Colonel G, na mabilisan lang, no? 6 yung police, right? Kalaboso sila ngayon. 1 or 2 itong hinahabol. Ano ba yung rules of engagement pagdating dyan? I mean, outnumbered naman po yung suspect. 6 po yung police, 1, 2 po yung hinahabol. Bakit po kailangan magpaputok ng warning shot?
Tama po yun, ma'am. Tama po kayo. Kaya nga sabi natin, for one, ang unang nakikita natin na pagkakamali dyan ay yung pagpapaputok ng warning shot. Dahil malinaw nga po sa ating operational procedure, yung pagpapaputok ng warning shot po during police operation ay hindi po ipinapahintulot. Except of course kung yung ating police officer na nagkakandak pa po ng police operation ay sa tingin niya ay siya ay makukuyog, outnumbered and overpowered at yung kanyang buhay ay nasa imminent danger, then he may use a warning shot with caution, of course. And very clear din po sa ating procedure kung kailan lang po yung mga instances na kung paano pwede po tayong gumamit ng barel. Ayan nga po, kung yung ating offender o yung subject ng ating police operation ay poses an imminent danger that would somehow cause death or serious injury, hindi lamang po sa ating pulis, pati na rin po sa ibang individual. At syempre po, yung paggamit po ng baril ay also justified under the doctrine nga po ng self-defense, defense of a relative, and defense of a stranger. But obviously, itong instances na po ito ay hindi po present dito sa kaso na ito. Kaya clearly ay may violation po talaga ng existing protocols itong mga pulis po na involved.
So, Colonel, now you've promised there will be a review of protocols, no? That you will revisit procedure to review the SOP nga. I know it's ongoing, but what can you tell us about how you will address it? Ano yung mapag-uusapan?
Yes, ma'am. Earlier today, our Honorable SILG held a meeting with the Chief PNP and other PNP senior officers and discussed the proposed review of existing PNP policy. And one of the topics discussed this afternoon is the review of the current policy on command responsibility. And for your information, ma'am, the policy on command responsibility being used by the PNP is still covered by an old law, a 1995 NAPOLCOM resolution. Thus, it is deemed necessary and it's high time to review this circular for the purpose of keeping pace with the changing time. Our objective here of our SIAG is to determine how high we can exact accountability from the supervising officers up to the commanding officers who exercise command and administrative control over their subordinates, particularly in cases involving grave offenses and similar other cases like the Napotas case that creates public outrage. And also, one of the recommendations discussed earlier is the creation of a study group or technical working group who will study this recommendation. And of course, yung isa pa nating tinitignan dyan is yung study and review ng existing PNP operational procedure to further strengthen the rules to avoid similar cases of this nature po.
When do you think you might finish this review, Colonel?
We don't have a timeline on this, but the SILG clearly stated earlier that he wants this review to be expedited as soon as possible time, so that again, like I said, we don't want a repeat of this incident in the future.
Colonel, nabanggit nyo nga, no, you want to review the accountability law that was crafted in 1995. Sa ngayon po, gaano kataas po ba? Sino bang accountable according to the law right now? Doon po sa nangyari.
Sa ngayon po kasi ma'am, like in the case of the Napotas case po, ang ating pong sinama dito sa doctrine po ng command responsibility ay yung pong dalawang team leaders po nitong 6 na pulis. Dahil nga po titignan natin kung nagkaroon ba ng kapabayaan, failure of supervision on their part kung bakit nangyari ito. Supposedly, yung ating police operation hanggat maaari ay dapat ay being led by a officer, o kung in the absence of a police commission officer, ay most ranking non-commission officer. So titignan natin kung hanggang dun lang ba sa level of team leaders yung ating pananagutin under the doctrine of command responsibility, o itataas pa natin yan hanggang station commander up to the chief of police para nga ma-exact natin yung accountability na hindi lamang yung mga immediate supervisor up to the highest level if the need arises po, na makikita natin na meron po talagang kapabayaan.
Colonel, dumalo rin nga si SILG Abalos, no, pati si PNP Chief Acorda separately sa burol ni Jemboy. Ano po ang pangako nila sa pamilya Baltazar?
Yes, tama po ma'am. Last night, the Chief PNP visited the wake of Jemboy, and he was able to talk with the family of the victim, and he personally extended his condolences and apology to the family. And of course, he assured the family that all the necessary assistance will be extended to them, and assured them that they will get the justice they deserve. And the Chief PNP also assured them that no special treatment will be given to the policemen involved, and that the full force of the law will be applied against them. And of course, the CPNP assured the family that all the necessary protection will be extended to them until the resolution of this case po.
Alright, maraming salamat, Colonel, para sa inyong oras ngayong gabi. Thanks for joining us, PNP spokesperson, Colonel Jean Fajardo, on the line.
Still on crime, the arrest and detention of a reporter in Iriga City, Camarines Sur is sparking debate over data privacy. Radio reporter Jose Rizal Pajares was arrested last August too for scanning police blotter records in search of something to report. Police accused Pajares of unauthorized access and violation of data confidentiality. Without any warrant, they arrested Pajares on the spot and took him into custody. In his defense, Pajares said he sought permission from an officer on duty. The incident...
Hindi ko nga po matanggap kung bakit nagkaganon kasi may bago na, ang sabi nila may bago na silang policy. So hindi ko naman po alam. Humingi po ako ng sorry 2 beses. Sinuluyan ako.
The incident has since sparked uproar on social media. The Camarines Sur chapter of the Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas has condemned the actions of the Iriga City Police and their use of the Data Privacy Act to charge Pajares. The Iriga City Chief of Police has been relieved pending investigation.
Medyo weird yan Alam mo dati, for a brief moment in time, nagpo-police reporter din ako. Parang normal lang naman na buklatin yung blotter.
Kaya nga oo. Dito narinig nga natin na na-invoke yung data privacy. Pero ano ba sabi ng NUJP tungkol dyan?
Sabi ng NUJP, under the Data Privacy Act, the law is not applicable to personal information processed for the purpose of journalism. So clearly, it's exempted. And also kasi yung blotter, I think it's a public document. Kaya nga nandun lang sa
Tatlong
public
araw
record.
na aresto si Pajares nakita ko kanina. But it's important to know, I think, our rights.
Our rights.
To be able
Freedom
to
of
study,
information
right?
yun. Should be. I don't know.
If in the light of journalism,
Yes.
sabi ni NUJP.
Very clear naman yung journalism. I think data privacy as a whole, we keep checking these boxes. Di natin naiintindihan ano ba yung mga...
It's important to arm ourselves with knowledge of the law.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with you, Gretch. For now, another quick break, but right after that, just how cool is it to have your voice featured on a superhero movie? Well, we would not know, but we will have someone who does. We'll be speaking live with voice actress Inca Magnaye on her latest project, When the Big Story returns. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. Voice actor and content creator Inca Magnaye is now part of the DC Extended Universe. She is also making history as the first Philippine-based talent in a DC movie. Inca has just signed a contract with Warner Brothers Philippines for her upcoming special role in the DC film Blue Beetle. Magnaye will be voicing the character Kajida or Scarab in the Philippine release of the film. Scarab is an ancient relic that controls the titular hero Jaime Reyes or the Blue Beetle. American singer-actress Becky G is the voice of the original Kajida, but in the Philippine release, it will be voiced by Inca. The media distribution company says that Inca was their only choice from the get-go. The said movie is set for nationwide release on August 16, that is next week.
Here to talk to us about her journey as a DC voice actress, we have with us live in the studio none other than Inca Magnaye. How do you like that introduction? Now a DC voice actress.
I know, right? Only something that I've dreamt about, but now it's
Actually, I read that you manifested it.
Wow.
Tell us the story.
I did. But it's, manifest is like one of the popular words now.
Yeah.
But it was
Did you tweet about it?
I did.
So there's proof that you manifested it.
Ano yan? DCQT, ganon?
The manifestation has recibo.
How did you manifest it?
It was more like, these are the things that I want to achieve as a voice actress. One, be the voice of like a video game character. Two, be the voice of like a cartoon character, because I grew up watching like Cartoon Network and all these things. Three, be the voice of a superhero in like a DC movie. And
Very
et cetera, et cetera.
specific.
Yeah, because they say that that's what you should do with manifestation.
Right.
You have to be very specific.
But I should take some notes down.
Yeah.
Manifest
Right.
on
Twitter.
On Twitter.
How about a newscaster? You wouldn't want
We might all be out of jobs if Inca decides.
Or I can join.
Or that, or not. We can be four, we fit.
Right? Because my mom was a newscaster also on radio.
Wow.
That's how she started.
Does she train you how to modulate
Or is
your
that
voice?
genetic?
I guess it's genetic.
I guess. Maybe she's born with it.
But it's one of those things where you kind of like, you grow up surrounded by it. So it's just been a part of my life.
But how different is it? I mean, we've heard you VOing on every single PAL flight I've taken.
I know. I was just going to say, I feel like I'm on a PAL flight
Yeah.
right now. Yes.
Fastening my seat.
Can you give her a sample, please?
Oh, mabuhay.
Oh my God! Welcome to Philippine Airlines.
Welcome to Philippine Airlines.
Oh my God! We're probably gonna hear that tomorrow as well because she has
Kaya mo mag-Tagalog?
Kaya naman.
Let's hear it.
Kaya.
Sige, go.
Ay, in the Tagalog spiels of mahirap siya.
Sa
Mabuhay, malugod, what was the word? Malugod namin kayong
Something like that. Yeah. But now you believe it, right?
Yeah, I need to read it. Yeah.
Okay,
so
anyway, sorry, yes.
So we know your voice. You have been doing VOs, but I'd imagine VOing is much easier than doing voice acting for a character on TV, because this character goes through, a whole slew of conversations, emotions, etc.
Right, yeah. It would depend on what your specialty is as a voice talent. So because there are people who can naturally do different kinds of voices. Like my brother, for example, he does really, really good old man voice, but he's like 30. Things like that. And there are voice actresses like the ones who voice like a lot of Cartoon Network stuff like Bubbles or like the Rugrats. Those are voiced by women. Nancy Cartwright is the voice of Bart Simpson. And they're just able to change their voices that way. And my voice just naturally sounds like a computer.
So is that what Scarab sounds like?
She is an ancient relic, right? But she's also like a ancient technology symbiote kind of thing. So I guess that's a little taste of what you'll watch when it premieres on the 16th. But yeah.
Warner Brothers said you were their only choice for this role. Tell us how they found you and what your initial reaction was.
I honestly don't know how they found me. They probably saw like my TikToks and all that stuff.
Sabi na nga, TikTok is the way.
The way. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah, the magical apps. But really, it was a surprise for me too, because we just got the email and I didn't even see it myself. My team was the one who sent me the screenshot of the email, and it just said, "Oh my God!" And then I looked at it. I was like, because I was doing something else at the time, and I was like, "What's this?" Okay, email. Wait, it said Warner Brothers. What? Superhero.
Oh my
What?
God.
Blue Beetle. What?
Oh, wow.
How long did it take you to voice the entire film?
1 day.
What? Where? In the Philippines?
Yeah, here.
They didn't fly you? Are they planning to fly you?
I mean, they can next time.
Maybe tweet
The
about
red
it.
carpet.
I'll tweet about it.
Can we have a sample of your character in the film?
Sure. In the trailer.
Okay, yeah. Something that
Kajida.
appeared in the trailer, so we don't do any spoilers.
So we don't do spoilers, yeah. In the trailer, Kajida says to Jaime, "Whatever you can imagine, I can create."
Oh, so you kind of got this like AI
a
thing
robot.
going.
Reminds me of that movie, Her.
What is the movie all about, The Blue Beetle?
So the Blue Beetle is one of those DC superheroes that's been around for a while. I was looking at the comic earlier, and there were a few panels there where he was talking to Superman, and there was a panel there where Batman appeared. So he's been around. And they finally put him into the big screen, and a lot of the people at Warner Brothers in DC were really excited and thought that, the Philippines would really relate to this film because Jaime Reyes comes from a very close-knit family. And Pinoys are very, they have really strong family values, family-oriented.
So another thing, Inca, that's interesting is they actually have another voice actress voicing Kajida.
Yes.
But for the Philippines, it is you.
Yes.
So the fact that, did you wonder like, wow, they're actually gonna do this whole thing all over again, edit it all over again.
Yeah.
Just for the
Just for
Philippines.
that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, the Philippines, wow, it's so special to them to have a different version for the Philippines. I thought that was really nice. And pretty cool, like for the BTS fans out there, like Becky G is the one who sang with J-Hope for their song Chicken Noodle Soup. So that's like a little connection I'm excited about because I love BTS. Side note.
Army.
But yeah, I thought it was such a cool thing for DC and Warner Brothers to do. And even the people at Warner Brothers here, they were so excited to tell me, oh my gosh, you were just supposed to be a part of they were going to tap me to make content to promote the movie.
Okay.
And then DC and Warner Brothers, Maine, they were like, you know what, just have her voice the thing. And then they were like, really? Inca!
Galing.
So
Tell us how you take care of your voice. I mean, for those aspiring to be a voice talent like
Right.
you.
So if you want to take care of your voice, just make sure, like, if you have something big coming up, or like you guys will do a broadcast, well, the obvious is don't shout or don't overuse your voice the day before. If you did drink something soothing, like salabat is the best.
So you're a salabat fan as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Over like honey or...
You know what? If you want to add like a little sweetness, raw honey is really good for your voice. Yeah, just don't have too much, because when it's too sweet, it kind of gets stuck in your throat, right? You get
It's also a bit scratchy.
It is, it is. So I would suggest salabat, a little bit of calamansi, and a little bit of honey, warm.
Ay, sarap.
Sakto.
The way she says it, ano?
I know.
Your voice. I'm just like about to lean back.
I think it's the voice, not so much the drink. But you know, you're the only voice talent that I know. Tell us more about the industry. What is it like? How big is it?
It's actually pretty big and growing. It wasn't that big before, obviously, because not a lot of people knew that you could be a voiceover.
Yes, exactly.
Right? In fact, like, because I started voiceovers when I was 5 years old. So I remember, like, after school, my parents would pick me up, and then they'll be like, oh, you have a recording after this, so we have to go to the studio. And I'm like, okay. So it was just like a normal thing for me. But every time I would tell my friends, I have a recording after, be like, what's that? A recording? Do you sing? I'm like, no, it's I'm a voice talent. What's that? And now people know more about it, because before it was just like, akala ko robot lang yun.
Yes.
But actually, the robots, they're voiced by
You sing
us.
too, right?
I do. I sing also.
Okay.
Tell us
Yeah.
about your singing career. Are you planning to diversify and pursue that avenue?
Maybe I'll tweet about it also.
Tweet muna.
My singing career.
What do you need? What do you need to like have good quality voiceovers?
Oh, well, another
Just a podcast
tip.
mic.
A podcast mic. You know what? You just really have to practice your voice, because then at any given opportunity, like I could do a voiceover with a simple earphone mic.
Yun na yun.
If you are able to practice your voice really
Did you
well.
do anything, like we said, this is likely, maybe, big chance that it's genetic.
Definitely.
But is there something that you do
Oh,
to
yes.
exercise your
She
voice?
says
Did you go
definitely.
professional?
Did
like-
you do anything to stretch? I guess
Yeah.
ano ba yung pagka kumakanta?
None.
Yung ano,
Vocalization?
The vocal range.
spectrum.
I used to do summer classes, theater, musical theater, singing lessons and things like that. But actually, the voice is genetic. Like in the same way that you can inherit your mother's eyes
Yes, of
or your
course.
father's smile, you can inherit their voice.
Do you sound like your mom?
I do. I do sound like my mom. My brother sounds like my dad. My sister and I sound like my mom.
So your sister sounds like you. You mentioned your brother.
Yes.
Can do an old man voice at 30 very well.
Yes.
Is he also a voice talent?
Yes, he
Are you
is.
all voice
So
talent?
see, it is genetic.
It is genetic.
Well, Inca, you kind of broke through for the Philippines when it comes to voice talent, the voice industry. What is your hope for voice talents all over the country?
It is my hope that the world can see just how talented the pool of voiceover talents we have right here. Talented and skilled. Because when you say talent, it's something that you're born with, right? But people hone the skill so that they can become
Are
better.
there such things as coaches, trainers?
There are, yeah.
are?
I'm-
that?
Are you a coach?
Not yet, because I think it's a little bit of what do you call that? Imposter syndrome. Like I feel like I'm not good enough to teach yet, but I'm surrounded by so many wonderful talents who are and do coach and do workshops. They're a part of. I'm a part of this group called Vocal Alliance. It's a group of veteran voiceover talents here in the Philippines who came together to make a group to help. Kind of bring more people into the fold to teach them how to do these things.
I remember the dubbers, right? They're part of that, the
Yes,
industry,
yes,
right?
yes.
Super hirap nun.
Ang hirap.
It's
Oh, you have
so hard.
To watch it at time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did for the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you did it in one day?
Yes. Well, she didn't have a lot of lines, but yeah. But she was there throughout the whole thing.
Was it a first time you did a character like a cartoon or animated?
Well, I've done like a telenovela dubbing before, but it's very different.
But okay, teka lang. Kasi we you know, your mom was a journalist, a broadcaster, newscaster.
Yes.
Can we see that from you? Imbibe it. Can you read the teaser for us?
Oh yeah, sure. Which one is this? Where do I read? Here?
Can you read
Take
it?
your pick. Maybe
think
there,
so.
there,
Small
there,
prompt
there,
There,
that one.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I say up next?
Yes.
Okay, up next. The health department is now allowing bivalent jabs to be used as a first or second booster shots. That and more when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News. almost.
You should have handed her a script.
Inca Magnaye, ladies and gentlemen, our big story.
Welcome back. You're watching the big story here in One News.
Here's a heads up for the public, especially those who haven't received their COVID-19 boosters. Bivalent vaccines may now be used as a first or second booster shot. This comes after the health department has expanded the coverage for the bivalent COVID-19 jabs. The agency has also been urging healthcare workers, senior citizens, and immunocompromised individuals to get the bivalent shots. Data from the DOH shows that only 49% of the nearly 392,000 doses of bivalent vaccines have been used. The public is advised to receive the jabs, especially amid the spread of the EG.5 Omicron subvariant in other countries. So far, there are about 12 confirmed cases of the EG.5 subvariant in the Philippines.
Right before we go, time for our big picture on this Friday night. Now, usually, we have a funny one, but right now, this is a serious one. What you're seeing is a wildfire that has swept through Hawaii's Maui Island, and it has killed at least 55 people. The cause of the fires, which started on Wednesday, have not yet been determined. However, the National Weather Service had issued warnings of high winds and dry weather on the Hawaiian Islands, conditions ripe for wildfires. This other big picture for tonight shows the aftermath of those wildfires. We can see the extent of the damage on the community of Lahaina. Hawaii's Governor Josh Green has described the fires as likely the largest natural disaster in the state's history. Officials are also saying that it will take many years and billions of dollars to rebuild Lahaina, which is a popular tourist destination in Hawaii.
It's terrible. It looks like it was bombed. It was like it was ravaged. It looks like it was ravaged by war.
But wildfires are common in Hawaii, right? It is a volcanic island.
I'm not sure how common it is, but it does look
I
like
don't
it's
think it's
among
that. Usually
the
it's
most-
on the west
biggest.
coast in
Oh.
California. I think this one took them by surprise. I don't know if El Nino has anything to do with it, but one
50.
thing is for sure. U.S. President Biden has already approved a national disaster declaration for Hawaii, making federal funding available for local residents. So again, the
Still
whole of the
thousands
downtown
missing.
is gone.
Yeah, exactly. Still thousands missing.
Thousands
really
of people
quite
have been
sad.
evacuated from Maui with 1,400 people waiting at the main airport.
Trying to get out of Maui.
Oo. Parang alam ko marami na ring streets ang tabunan ng wildfire. Only one parang passable. That was on the news.
And
this
it spread
morning.
rapidly. That was the problem, right? So
Kasi
people were trying to get out, but
But
the
it's too
wildfires,
late. Like,
yeah.
maybe they got out, but the fires just ate everything up.
Yeah.
So our hearts go out to our Hawaiian brothers and sisters. We do have a whole lot of Filipino kababayans living in
True.
Hawaii.
Ang dami nagtatrabaho
Ang
doon,
dami.
lalo na sa mga barko.
Yeah, I think nasa parang 15%
seaman.
of their population is Filipino, ethnic Filipinos. Right, so our prayers going out to Hawaii. And that's it for our show on this Friday night.
We are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good weekend.
thanks for tuning in. Good night.